Great. Right, we'll get fired. Well, fuck it. I think we're up and rolling.
Up and running.
Up and Ronan. How's that? Fucking lovely. Oh, are you in Straban?
I'm Straban through and through, yeah.
By geez, I tell you, and I was to do your gig, and we will get that done. We will. It's just, well, at least diesel prices have come down. They're not €9 a litre anymore.
Aye. Do you know what? We're with a couple of. I'm opening another club now in Derry.
Good man.
This one, like, see the club I run in Straban holds 55 people.
So
there's only so much you can pay out. Of
course, yeah.
But it's an unbelievable experience. Like, I've had all the top hitters up the north play it now.
Yeah.
Andrew Ryan did it last week. Shane Todd did it last week. We've got Kieran Bartlett coming back. He's doing a double show at the end of next month. Colin Geddes, they've all done it, and then all of them went on their podcast and talked about how brilliant it is. So there's something about it, even though there's 60 people.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
You're standing on top of a pallet that I put plywood over.
Beautiful.
Just sits, and you know what? We had speakers and all. Now they've got surround sound in the room, so it's just the mic.
Yeah.
But it's like a cauldron. Even I was Connor Keys. I don't know Connor was on your pod. Connor,
yes, yeah.
Connor thought there was about 150 people, 120 people in the room. But when the lights went on, he just went, fucking hell, that's it. You know, the way seemed to be, but it's something about the acoustics, the low ceiling.
Yes. Yeah.
Everybody's like, and then Straban's full of mad bastards too, Tom.
I'd say, I tell you now, the last time and only time I gigged in Straban, I was on the way back. It was a tonic is what it was, because I came from a gig. Who was running it? Was it Woodsy running it at the time?
Woodsy made it.
It must have been.
Dicey Rayleigh's?
It was a nightclub.
Dicey Rayleigh's.
Right. And I was coming back from a gig. I said, there's no way you're putting on a gig that late. He goes, no, it'll be fine to start at that hour. And I went, are you fucking sure? Because he's like, you're starting at 10:30 or something. Like, and I wouldn't be on till fucking nearly 11:45 or something. So, but okay, well, I can definitely make it back. So I came back from Derry after doing a gig run that, let's just say, was shit, but it also shouldn't have had a man with the name Mahony in the if you get me. It didn't go down well with some of the tattoos that were sitting.
I know.
Now I relished it in a way, but at the same time, it was a shit gig anyway. It was in the corner of a pub that nobody kind of knew was happening. You know, it was like, what? Terrible idea.
I did a gig with Al Foran, you know Al.
Yeah.
We did a gig in Omaha, and it was one of those gigs of guys opening up a big fancy bar, and they must have been sitting in his office with his friends going, brainstorm, right?
Yeah.
We'll get a comedian, we'll get an impressionist, so they asked the questions so Al can answer them. So I work on Omaha as well, so I called in just to see what was going on. Where's the stage? They says, there's no stage. I said, is there a spotlight or anything? No, there's no spotlight. We're just going to give you a mic at the bar. Right? So I landed, and everybody was eating. There was no announcement. There was nobody was told. And they handed me the mic. And when I was standing there and Al was looking at me, this couple beside us just got served their mains. You know, the steak just landed.
I've been there so many fucking times. It's not even funny. Like,
so, and there were people around the corner as well that they obviously not only did they not know there was no show, but they didn't even could see us if there was no way of. So all you hear was the clanking and the clanking, and when we spoke, people just ignored us. That's probably worse than silence.
Yeah. Oh man. Jesus Christ. Like, you wonder sometimes, like, it was Rory O'Hanlon. He's very clear and pointed when he says some things, like, and he's just came out because comedy only never works when it's in places where comedy has no fucking business. And he was so right. Like, it just doesn't work in some place. And also, you're assaulting people with comedy. Like, they're not to be blamed. They're out for their fucking dinner, and all of a sudden, you're asking some fella some white fella from Dublin to do an impression of Chris Eubank into their faces as your man is having his tiramisu going, get the fuck.
Exactly. That's exactly. So there was only one table that sort of hooked on. It was like a group of fellas.
Right.
So I just said to Al, just stand at that table and give them a bit of stick. Here we did it. The only thing I'd say about them gigs is you get paid okay.
Yes, that's the thing, and you fucking well should. That's
Fucking hell, man!
yeah.
That is fucking tight. Like just ignoring you. But it's like weddings too. When you do weddings, and if I'm at a wedding, I'm sitting at the table with the singles and it's men, and we're all having a bit of crack. And next minute, this cunt comes on and starts telling jokes that you need full attention for unless you're a one-liner.
Oh, you can.
It's just so their backs are up straight away. They're like, "Who the fuck's this boy again?" You know what I mean? So you're getting heckled by the best man's brother and his friend, and oh fuck them. So I go too high with prices, and they never. I got a close one there at the weekend. I was meant to do this. I didn't. Somebody asked me to do. You're going to get this. Somebody sends you a text. You look at it. You accidentally wanted it, so they know you read it.
Yeah.
But this guy, he must have read it with his toes, hey, and I just siphoned through what it was, and it was like, "Can you do my wedding?" And it's one of them jobs that give you 50 quid for an hour.
Go fuck yourself. Yeah.
And then I heard them, they're mad. And then I was at a gig last night, and I was on, and I was did really well. It was a fucking cracker wee gig, and came off the stage, went down the stairs, and this guy just cornered me. "It's me." He said, "Kieran." I was looking, I'm going, "I know you're bound to get that too." And he goes, "I sent you the text about my wedding. Bring the wife to it." No, they were talking as if it was already done. The only saving grace, man, is that we're away on holidays the same week.
Fucking man, I would have gotten. I swear to God, I would have gotten AIDS, whatever it needed to get out of that situation. Like, are you fucking joking me? Bring the wife. What I used to love was. Thankfully, I don't. It kind of gets filtered out now. I think I maybe probably because I come across as an ignorant cunt in a couple of these texts that I think the universe knows that if somebody's thinking Tom's going to be an ignorant cunt about it, because.
But some people need that. Some people just.
Oh no, they absolutely do. Because here's the thing. So what if they go away saying you're an ignorant cunt? It's you were an ignorant cunt thinking you're going to fucking pay me with a dinner.
Exactly.
We'll throw in a dinner. Not. I don't give a fuck if you fucked the dinner out the window. 10 dinners. You know what I mean? I'll eat a sandwich in the fucking apple green. Thank you very much. And I don't want to be. I don't want to associate with you. I just want to show up, do my shit, pay me, and get the fuck out of there.
Like, right, Mickey Bartlett said the same thing. It's like when you're asked to do a charity event, and Mickey say, "What's the fee?" "Oh, we don't pay the X." Yeah. And Mickey's like, "Do you pay the doorman? Do you pay the bar staff? Do you pay?" And I'm the entertainment. No, people like there's people just think because they think it's so easy to be funny.
This like it's a dangerous. It's one of the few I suppose professions where it'll go one or two ways. Like in meeting people, that either get almost aggressive with you in the sense that, "Oh, all right," because it's almost like a currency to be funny. And being funny is fine. And you can also maybe sing too, but can you fucking get up and sing well enough to get paid for it? No, you fucking probably can't. If you could, you'd be doing it. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, I've gotten a few. Would you do these? Would you do that? But it's the when I see bad spelling, like you're describing it there now. That's me. That's. I nearly block it because I like, lad, in this day and age, the phone is trying to write everything for you. You have to struggle to write badly these days. Like,
it's really that wee red swiggle underneath telling you you're fucking stupid. So I was like, ones from the gig actually were texting me going, "Here, such and such was saying that you're doing their wedding. Are you mad?" And I was going, "Who are you talking about? This is all the day." And I was like, "Who are you talking about?" And then it was just, "Fuck, I'm on holidays."
Yeah, thank Jesus.
But you're right. You have to be like, even I've been doing MC for a few big MMA events locally.
Right. Yeah.
I used to do it years ago, so they brought me in. But it's a long day, Tom.
It's what?
And you only get a couple $100, but people think that's played well. But you know, your comedy gigs, all you can get paid.
Yeah.
So I give myself. I says, "Listen, the best I could do is like 300, 250 for any events," but they're filling. The guys are getting like 400 or 500 people in these venues, and they're charging them 20 quid a head.
Yeah.
And when I tell them 200, they're like, "You fucking 100."
Look, you go one or two ways. Like you either you lowball the shit out of yourself inapologetically, or you go so screamingly hot high that they go, fuck, this fella must be unbelievable.
And
you
you'll
hedge
do it.
you hedge your bets, like you hedge your bets, because I
Yeah.
never feel bad. Like I literally got an email this morning and I saw it, and this fella was going, and we've had this and we've had this fella. I'm going, I've never fucking heard of you. I said, so I looked it up and I was like, in a pub somewhere. And I went, all right, hit him with a price, because I'm like, that's gonna fucking take it. Like, that won't just take a drive. What that'll take is 14 years of hard experience to pull the life out of that fucking room. Like, because I'm telling you now, looking at it, that's gonna take everything I have to get that fucking good. And still, people might come away going, just that fella wasn't great. And now I've tarnished it. So, man, you better be willing to fucking pay. So all these factors have to be taken in sometimes. And when it's just like, it'd be another thing if, like, at least with musicians, they go, well, I've got a song to sing and I've got a guitar to carry, and I've got, because it's so easy, you just show up in your shirt and a fucking, and, you know, whatever.
I think Andrew Ryan was actually saying to me last week, when he does the carpets now, that's the only time do you know, whenever he has an hour, he puts it to bed every year. There's 7 of them. He has 7 of them now, he says. And I says, do you use it any time now? And he goes, no, well, when I'm doing carpets.
Oh, yeah.
You know, stuff that you've just polished so thing, and you're going, right, you're just getting this. And if that doesn't work, it's them, the cunts. Because you know your hour worked and you've toured with it and you've done big shows. But he says it's the only time he can take it out, and it's the only time he would, just because people throw money at you. Even sometimes you get a gig that you highball them, and they agree it, and you still go, oh.
Yeah, I should have tripled it. Fuck. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of the time, and I mean, I've probably teetered towards the edge of being told to fuck off and be fired from the thing, because, like, I've done a series of corporates, like, over Christmas, and they had this whole spiel written out that they thought would work, and the way the night would lay out. And I'll tell you now, lads, it sure as fuck isn't going to work. But we'll do night 1, and I'll show you what kind of shit, because I've no shame, as I said, well, we'll do night 1. And I was walking away, and your man says, I might give you a ring as you're heading down the road. I says, you do that. No, sorry. He says, hey, do you want to pop into the office there and we'll have an old chat? I says, we fucking well won't, because I'm away down the fucking road. I'm off the clock now. So I have the Bluetooth in the car there. You can give me a fucking ring.
They want you to do Chef Ramsay. Come on and fucking.
And he basically, he totally got me then. He went, all right, so I don't have this fella for half a second beyond the clock. Grand.
Yeah.
And then so we're driving down the road, and he went, you're right enough that didn't work there, Tom. I went, yeah, wasn't I? Wasn't I right? Now,
I think because we find out quicker than any other entertainer what works and what doesn't.
And there's no politeness. Again, if it's a song, fucking poem, people out of manners will nearly go, oh, fair play. When you finish, you'll get a clap. To get a clap doing fucking just talkies is a different.
And for some reason, like, out of everything, people hate comedians they don't like. Like, they hate.
Yeah. This is,
I was Jimmy Carr says
you could tolerate like a singer or song that you whatever. But yeah. And then they go, and I'll tell you who I do love, Lee Evans. You go, yeah, walk into the sea, cunt. Yeah, you're all right. We're not going to see eye to eye.
Oh, I know. I think it was Jimmy Carr that says if somebody says you're the best comedian in the world, they're probably right. And if somebody says they're the worst, they're probably right too, because it's down to the person's opinion.
Yeah.
But people do get really angry over comedy.
It's a strange thing.
Yeah. It's a ridiculous one.
It's a strange thing. But I meant to tell you, and I ran off subject, with that time after I came away from that fucking horror gig where your man tried to pay me with fags and everything. It was fucking bananas. Like, so I had to walk him to the ATM. Says, I will hit you onto the back of the Jeep and drag you up the fucking road. Derry may have seen carnage, but they won't see what I've fucking done. They won't have seen what I'll do to you if you don't fucking pay.
And where did you drive the whole way up from where?
I'd come from, I don't know where I'd come from. I'd say Dublin that time, because I was living in Dublin at that time.
Still?
But even still. And a dirt gig, and I knew the cunt to be paid for it. A fucking absolute, like, it wasn't a gig. It was just, I think Hegarty was there as well, and he's able to plow away because he kind of goes, it slips into his character. One-liners, and he kind of had gone into himself, and it was the finest. But I went up, and there was this handful of fucking angry birds. They were just fucking, they were, like they'd been on a hen, but you were going, this is your Thursday night. Would you relax, you fucking animal? Like, what are you?
Exactly. They hit you before you even open your
Oh
mouth.
well, I mean, as soon as they said my name, like it was like a couple of heads swung around, and then they hear my accent. It was like for a fuck. But
You're from Europe.
yeah. But as I headed, I was going. I'm hopeful that Straban at least can't be worse than this. But I get in. It was. I still to this day talk about it as one of the most magical fucking things because I had no grasp. So I was at a low ebb. But I went, this is on the way back. And Woodsy reckons this will work at fucking 11 o'clock. Okay, all right, fair enough. And I pull in, I go in. Place is mannerly as fuck. Everybody's properly seated. I went, how is nobody eating the furniture at this hour of the night? Like, because I just left a zoo. What the and only only a bit up the road. This is
15-minute drive.
I remember there was a chap on. He was doing comedy at the time. He was in a wheelchair, and there was a nightclub upstairs. Like this was, and it wasn't like wheelchair accessible. So I had to actually throw him up on my shoulder and drag the fucking wheelchair up with me. I went, this is if I had a vlogging team behind me tonight, like there's no fucking way.
The whole night would have been fucking brilliant. Vlogged.
We went. I'll never forget. It was in the middle. I was in the corner of the nightclub, is where the stage area was, and it was all mirrors.
And it's high ceiling.
Yeah, there was people up on the balcony. Sure.
I know that. That's where I had my first pint when I was 15.
I think somebody fucking died there by falling down the stairs or something.
I know the guy well.
Fuck.
Leaning over, he fell from the balcony.
Oh. But,
sad.
Well, I mean, the same vein, probably one of the funniest Patrice O'Neill moments on a comedy stage happened to me that night, and we're having the crack, and the next thing, this fella, he was steaming, but he was trying to be really polite. He was on a low stool, and he tried to kind of sneak away. You know, when you're steaming, you can't sneak anywhere, like. And your man he tries to sneak off to the right to head to the jacks, and nobody's really paying attention because they're going, it's just a fella heading to the jacks. But his foot gets caught under the stool. Out in the most unbelievable fucking way, he went flying backwards, but his leg whipped like a whip. Snapped the fucking stool a good 8-9 foot in the air. The place was rammed, so there must have been 100 people or more in there. I don't know how many was there. Everybody, including me, watched the stool for 15 minutes in the air, spinning.
Slow motion,
just cracked like one leg right down in this guy's cock as he was lying on the ground.
Shut up.
And the guy just let this fucking gut-wrenching roar out of him, and then crawled out of the room to the jacks. I could not. I had another 15 minutes, and I'd say if I got another 3 minutes of actual verbals out of me, it was continuous. It was just continuously I would nod and look back to the moment, and nobody straightened up the stool. The stool was on its side, and everybody kept fucking losing it. And I just packed it in. I was like, Woodsy, I can't outdo that moment. That is the one of the
How do you follow it?
And stand ovation for the stool. Straban was a tonic that night. It was a fucking
Straban now. I've sort of got Straban teamed. That's what the boys are saying, because we're now, I've gone on, but a year and a half now running the club.
Class. The Boiler, great name. Of course, you have to call it that. Like, yeah.
And I actually did BOYLER instead of everybody saying why. It was Keezy actually says, just in case you get the stage you want to pass it on.
Yes, yeah.
They don't have to change it to the name and then. So, but it was wild for about 6 months. I mean, people loved doing it, but it was wild. And then you know yourself.
Isn't that funny how you had to train the audience to be an audience? Yeah, I done the same. No, they weren't wild, but what they were was they were quite reserved. But by the third or fourth gig, they weren't folding their arms. They were like, "Oh, this is comedy. We know what happened. We know our role."
Yeah,
it's funny, isn't it? That the town would be used to it. Like,
it's mad. And then because I think after Woodsy did it for a while, there was a lot of failed ventures, and it just did not work. So I had a bit of celeb personality on the town, and I was doing skits and stand up and my own Orangeman show and stuff like that there. So we brought it in, and do you know what helped me a lot too? When you MC all the time.
Oh yeah.
Jesus, it brought on my game, hey, and now Shane Todd, as I say, he said it this pod the last day I went down. He said now he came down with new material, and people are listening and appreciating.
Yes,
and laughing at the right time, but it's like a thunderous laugh. But they laugh at all your wee Straban's a great place to come for you trying out new stuff.
Right, yeah.
Because they're up for it. You're out of Belfast, Dublin, you're not around all the usual clubs doing the usual thing. So I think they love coming down to us to do that. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah.
You're around yourself.
I can completely understand it because it's the same in that, like, if you can get a place out of the status quo, it's
Yeah.
almost like the pressure's off a small bit. But at the same time, you're like, I need to test myself out here too, you know, like,
Yeah.
because these are uncharted waters, and that's exactly what's happening for me at the minute down the tip. Like, it's like Deirdre O'Kane, I hadn't even finished the text message with, I'll be there. Actually, I can do 2 nights if you want. Like, Jesus Christ. And
Yeah.
she came back to me, fuck, I'm doing a corporate the other night. But it sold out in like a day, more or less sold out in a fucking day. You're like, Jesus.
Brilliant.
But it's in that.
Comedy's brilliant at the minute, especially up in our side, no down south.
Oh, it definitely, it's what it is down the south is it's packing out, but there doesn't seem to be the intranet that ye have up there. You know what I mean? In that ye are all, there's an intertwined kind of scene, whereas it's all kind of individual pockets at the minute.
Yeah.
So I mean, the smart
everybody
thing
knows everybody, and
the smart thing would be to stitch it all together.
Like we have we're opening one there in Donegal and Stranraer, and it's wild hard to shift tickets, but everything else we do in Derry, Strabane, Maherafelt,
like
it's like the new rock and roll. I don't know.
It's like unbelievable. Like I was saying, we don't have the intranet, but then you're talking about a distance of, say I'm doing Chris Kent's gig in a couple of weeks in Ballincollig, and I'm already here. So, and even at that, you're talking 80 miles. Do you know? Like, you go to Dublin, then you're talking 110 miles even from here. Like, so there's a big old span, but we're trying to get, even a lad I was gigging with last night, Kevin O'Sullivan, I says, I'm going to put you on my gig just so you can get your fucking finger out and start a fucking club in your town in Cork.
You're right about the distance you boys have to go. And Chris, I gigged with Chris one night too. How good's he?
He's great. He's great. He's amazing. So unique, like, in his style. Like, it's interesting how he grew up in quite an aggressive place, but he's so like, if the opposite to aggressive. I mean, passive, obviously, like, but passive is the wrong word. Just how laid back he is.
Just like, so laid back.
He grew up like, that place is a fucking bananas. Like, that he grew up like.
Yeah.
The one pub in the middle of it it has no windows, like, and it just looks like a big storage shed for a lot lawnmowers or something. It's just a huge pub. It has a name called the Holly Hill Inn, but if you called it that, people would know. It's called the Flying Bottle. So, I mean, that'll tell you. That'll tell you.
Bottle. See, Straban's the most bombed town in Europe.
Is it though?
Mm-hmm.
When did they have their last bomb, or did they just throw?
I remember going to school. It doesn't happen now since the Good Friday Agreement. Really, there's been there was one a couple of weeks ago, right? No,
for fuck's sake! There you go. I knew it was in my brain somewhere that I'd heard something about.
There was a couple of weeks ago, but in general, no. I remember when I was young, the town was just rubble. It was like some fucking Germany times doing, and
really,
I remember we used to love hearing about bomb scares on the way to school because you got a day off.
Like a snow day.
Bomb scare was like a snow day. That's the way it was, and you didn't even. It was like a word that was so commonly used that it didn't even sound scary.
Isn't that interesting? Like,
bomb scare today, boys.
That children should know about such a thing, like, you know what I mean? When you think like your kids like don't know nothing about that stuff, like, you know what I mean?
I said to my Waynes, I says I'd love. Well, our oil heating went for like 3 days, and you want to heard my kids on about it. It's like the end of times. The end of times. And I says, we used to light a fire, and when the fire went out at night, we had no heating until we lit a fire the next day, and it could have been snowing for the next 8-9 hours while we were sleeping. I says, I would usually love for 1 week of my life, these wee shites, because I came from, we were poor in a poor estate during a poor time. So we had nothing. Do you know what I mean? Fucking, you
were poor to the fucking poor square.
Yes. So we were like, people used to see us wearing our school uniforms after school. Do you know what I mean? Still wearing our school, and at late into the summer holidays, though.
But the only thing is, I mean, like that. I mean, we grow. What we've moved here, or whatever. And one of the first things my wife said why she loves it around here because we're rural. She goes, "There's no class system here." I said, "Oh, we grew up poor as fuck, like, but it wasn't poor. Like it was. You didn't know you were
Everybody
poor.
was. I
Everybody
didn't
was.
know.
It was just blue collar. It was just everybody.
I was saying to my Waynes as kids, I says, you don't fucking understand how bad Sundays were when we were wee. Like Sunday was the worst day because first of all, there's no TV. And then you might
Oh
have been
yeah.
brought your parents to visit other people. And there's
Yeah.
always rosary beads involved and masses and going to chapel and visiting places Our Lady appeared to. And well, that was ours. My granddad would have took us trips on Sundays, but in general, a Sunday was just like because everything up here closed as well.
Oh, did it? Oh, right. I
The
was gonna.
pubs,
Why was it so
the
shite?
shops,
Right.
nothing was open. It was like the first day of COVID, just emptied the streets. So you have no television, you have no entertainment, we had no money. So it was just a bad old day. And nobody went out to play. I just hated Sundays. Compared to now, where they don't know what waiting is with their devices. And
Yeah.
Sunday's a great day now. It's a great day.
Because there's fuck all else to do but have the crack. Like, yeah.
Back very religious, wasn't it too? When we were like, I'm 46.
Yeah, I'm 40. I suppose you see,
so
religion wasn't strong here around. You see, I suppose it was teams where you grew up. Like you had to be somewhat religious to nail your colours to a mast of some sort. Whereas here, everybody was the one thing. So there was nobody. Like if you'd one Protestant, I think there was. He was a vet, and he was like, oh, there's the Protestant lad. But nobody knew it. Really, all it was around here was GA. That came first. Probably farming came second, and then religion somewhere maybe third or fourth to something else. But it was never top of the pile. It just and never has been.
Time you're up, you can jump on my podcast. We'll get you up and this is what we're trying to do, Tom, because that's what you were saying. All our gigs are like I wouldn't drive over an hour to at least 10 gigs from my front door.
That's amazing.
And then I did Lavery's last week. That's an hour and a half. Do you know what I mean? So everything's so as I say, Fenton Harvey and I are doing that big show in Derry, and it's 200 sold out this month, 150 already next month sold out. The last Friday of every month, and it's going to be class. But he's got a cracker club in Maharafelt.
Does he?
Comedians love doing it. And it's unreal, 110 told or something.
What's his one?
The Terrace. So if we're trying to make it so you could do the Boiler Room the Wednesday, the Terrace the Thursday, and finish in Derry in the big room. Do you know
That's amazing.
Maybe get a podcast or something in between, but it'd be worth nearly staying up.
That's what I'm trying to create with Chris. So we're trying to tie in with each other. Like he's the first, I think he has two beautiful places like Ballincollig, which is out west of Cork, and then west again in a place called Sea Church. Beautiful, beautiful place, like, but well worth it. Decent paying gigs. And he's kind of the last or the first of the month. So if people wanted to come do mine see if we could pick him up something on a Friday, arse around on Sunday, look at some shit. And then there's gigs in Cork 7 days a week now, Cork City. So there'd be
7 days a week.
7 days a week. There's something going on now. And I swear to God, that's happened since COVID, pre-COVID. It was dying on its hole. Cork City was dying on its hole. And like and it's such a pity because when I started, that's it. Like when I started doing stand-up, man, there was fucking comedy everywhere. Like there was comedy nights and it just started fizzle away. It was really the downturn. Like, but I mean, like you'd see 300 people queuing outside City Limits Comedy Club on a Friday and Saturday night, like to see.
And there's Lavery's twice a week.
Yeah,
sells out
in the middle of the week. In the middle of the week, like
170 people each night, and that's after the Empire, after the Tuesday.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then there's a gig on the weekend down the Queen's University, and that holds like fucking 250 or something. But then you've got Shane Todd doing the waterfront, or where's he doing? I think he's like doing 20 gigs in a row on the waterfront. That holds like 3,000 a night, and he's doing day and night shows.
Every single person in Northern Ireland must be going to comedy. Like every children and everything must be going to comedy. There aren't that many people there. Like,
Aye, it's unbelievable, and it's just long may it continue because Connor Keys was looking at me to get into comedy about 5 years before I did, because he
right.
knew my character and stuff like that. And I always wanted to do it, and I left it. But when I came in, I go, like when he was telling me at the start, he goes, Ronan, don't be getting into comedy if you think you're going to make any money, because it's 30 quid a gig and no all this. And I was no, if I do it, it's because I don't think you can get into comedy for money. It has to
No,
be for
you
the
can't
love
get
it.
into it. Like, because I mean, while there is money to be made at it, by fuck you have to do some work. You know what I mean? You have to do some work to get good, and to
Especially, and they make it look like you're not doing any work as the key.
Yeah.
And nobody understands it. So, but let the illusion fucking continue, because I'll tell you, it's working up here. And I had a part-time job where I was doing like 100 hours a week down in Dublin or near Dublin and places like that, doing working in a children's home. I don't have to do that anymore because of comedy.
That's amazing.
So it's clearing up all the time. So people say to me, it's hard work. I've been going like 6.5 years comedy, but only 4 years stand up. You know what I mean? But it's sort of, I've taken it good, and it's fucking like, compared to what I was doing, it's not hard work.
No, Jesus Christ! Like when you hear fellas cribbing, you're like, listen, I'll put you up on a fucking scaffold at -7, you cunt, and you come back to me. Do you know what I mean? You come back to me. But it is class to see up there, because, and I only hope anyway you'll see it filtering down, because I would have been, especially when I was in Dublin like I suppose I was the most frequent lad going from Dublin to the north. Like it was just
you were
it was ridiculous. Like,
did you do Connor's dailies?
Oh, a load of times, yeah.
Dailies is great. So they're calling the Boiler Room the new dailies, like or vintage dailies.
That's quality. Actually, you'll take great joy in this. One night, and I've told this a few times on the podcast, but you're the perfect person to tell it to. One night I was doing dailies, and it was, oh geez, it must be, I guess maybe 5 years ago now, almost to the day, because I remember it was March 18th. It was Friday, March 18th. And no, geez, that would make it 6 years ago.
So the days after St. Paddy's.
All right. And I'm driving up and excited for dailies, love dailies, and I get stopped by a cop outside on the edge of the town. I said, you'll not get in there this evening. I said, you'll not get in where? It's a big fucking town. I said, what are you talking about? He's like, nah. I was like, well, you're not explaining yourself. Is there something? Is there something up? And he goes, no. He said, no, they're. This will tell you my naivety, right? He says they're practicing marching. And in my head, I went, Jesus Christ Almighty, fair fucking play to him. They've 364 more days to St. Patrick's Day, and they're fucking out there by fucking getting their marching. This is my brain all in the space of 3 seconds. And the cop could see through my skull into my head.
Yeah.
And they kind of went, like shaking his head. And I went, well, I can't wait to see this. I says, where can I park? And he was looking at me and laughing, going, oh, you're going to take some fucking pleasure in this. He goes, where are you after? I says, going to the comedy club. Oh, he says, you're going to have some fucking fun at this. So he says, you can park over there if you want, but you're going to have to walk on in. That's great. So I walk in, and these lads are fucking like gangs and gangs of these fellas in all their garb. And of course, it was in, I suppose, a form of protest to the fact that Paddy's Day had been on the day before. Like, and they had all their fucking Sergeant Pepper outfit on, fucking brightly colored shit. Like,
oh, aye.
And they're up and down, up and fucking down. I'm going, it's the one tune. It's just the one tune, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it held up the comedy club for an hour and a half. The lads were all apologetic. They're like, we're so sorry. I said, not at all. This is one of the maddest things. This is like going. This is like seeing Carnival in fucking Brazil.
Dinosaurs.
There's no tits bar on that big fat lad over there. Like, that's
your man carrying the big drum.
Like,
we were up in Ballymena doing a gig with Damo Clark. Me and Damo were doing a gig. It wasn't even that long ago in Ballymena. What do you call thing that runs the Ballymena gigs? One of the soundest comedians about. Jesus. Same thing. We're held up with a band.
Was
You
it?
know what I mean?
Were they
And it's
practicing
strange
as well?
because they're out practicing, or maybe I was actually. See, they do hundreds of parades a year, so
Oh, do
it's not even
they?
a. That's it. That's the parade. That's not a practice. That's them. That's
Fucking hell.
them. Them at work. It's mad because I come from a predominantly Catholic town, so we had no interfaces. We had no. So we were an Irish town in the north, if you
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
so to
Yeah. Yeah.
speak. But there was a lot of whenever the troubles were going on. That's why Strabanter blew the bits. It was more against soldiers and against cops or RUC. They were the targets. So, and then there was a time when there was like no Catholics needed to play in our own town, and we're 99.9% Catholic. There were
Oh,
shops, and so they didn't last too long. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
places they got blew up, and then they were just trying to. The system's not going to work if it's not going to be an Irish one. So something like that was the thinking back then. So Strabane was more. We never seen orange parades. I never knew a Protestant. There was 18.
Wow.
And there was ones that lived in a couple of villages away. Do you know what I mean? We just did not do anything together. Didn't
Isn't
know
that
each other. Didn't with separate education. Which is, I think, that was the best thing for this country is bringing education together and getting
of
religion out of it.
course makes perfect fucking sense for Christ's sake? Like, but
Jesus
isn't it
Christ!
funny how we're just talking about the integration of the comedy scene and how well entwined it
Yeah,
is across the entire province of Ulster?
yeah,
Because you're in Donegal now as well. So, but
yeah.
isn't it funny how intertwined? And you said you didn't fucking know a sinner in the village next door. You know, growing up.
Nobody,
In that
nobody.
class, how far it just
Oh,
jumped.
it's great. Even when you're talking about you and Chris, my brain's going, we should all get together
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
sell out the circuit so people can just, because we were saying it's really hard. Say you're booking for one club, and I was saying the same. They Fenton, he's a club, I have a couple, then we're doing the big one. There's no point in scrambling for acts all the time. Just have the same,
Oh
if I
yeah,
have four on, just do the 4 4 4 4
yeah.
and then book everybody that way. So it saves you having to every time like 4 gigs in a row with a ton of different comedians. Just as
It, no, it'd fucking break your heart. Like you'll
oh
never keep it together. Like, but it's a great, it's the dream scenario. And once upon a time, like there was there was the Empire, then the Laughter Lounge in Dublin, City Limits in Cork, and the Roisin Dove in Galway.
yeah,
For a big name act in the late 90s, early 2000s, for a big name act, they'd bring over and go, that's where you'll go, that's the circuit you will go through. And if you pick out and up in between, more power to you. But I always thought, yeah, doesn't that make perfect fucking sense that to have a nice
I
clock
know.
clock around the
Oh, it takes good men or women as well. They just they have that relationship because I think in Dublin or not in Dublin in London and all it's very competitive
oh yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and don't get me wrong, there is comedy's comedy and you have an ego and stuff like that there. But I think if you work together and we keep us all working constantly around and you don't have to come back every 6 months, but if you do that by every place, you're just continually working.
I don't see it as being
And the
a
audience
bad
is
thing.
up
Like,
here, brilliant.
oh
No,
sure,
so did
Jesus. That's why I was back up the whole time. When I did Clattered last year, the opening night was in Belfast because it just
yeah.
made perfect sense. Well, I went, all right, well, let's stick a pin in the top of the country and work down the way. But at the same time, it was like fucking no bother flogging. Like from me purely going up there, like the last night I was in Lavery's, I have these
Yeah.
gang of fucking mad looking fucking bitches sitting at this table going, go on, Tom, go on. I'm like, who the fuck are you?
It's mad.
I just drove from Tip, like, who the fuck? But they were,
Yeah.
oh, I love it. And they were naming podcast episodes. I'm going, fuck
Yeah.
it, fair play to you girls. Fair play to
And
you.
they probably know more about you than you think because
Like,
I was standing at the urinal and a guy beside me starts talking about something I said 10 podcasts ago that I don't, it might have been just the top of the head.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it stays with them forever.
But
So it's dangerous for me putting out.
I know. Fuck it. I've been pulled up in a few ones. Where I go, do you remember that time? I was like, oh, fuck, it is out there. All right, fair enough. But where did the idea, but when did you start doing the Orangeman, the marching sketches? Because they're on the money, like, and the mustache and every fucking thing.
So
Jesus Christ. Yeah. So tell me, like, I mean, we know it, you didn't pull it from fucking outer space, but like, when did you start? What, like, had you acting background? Or you were like, let's give this a fucking go. This is what I know.
Do you know I did a page called the Strabanter, and we had like nearly 70,000 followers. It was
Right.
Straban and banter coming together. Do you know what I mean? So me and a guy from America, a mate of mine that moved over when we were young. We always kept in contact online, and then he was a really massive guy, and he used to wear a Batman mask just to do skits. He was hilarious. Like he would just say, "I'm just back from the Batcave," and he'd take a bite of his chocolate, and he's fucking massive. But we were doing skits, and the page was flying. We were getting nearly 1 million footfall through it every month or every couple of weeks, and it was just massive. But it was very Straban humor.
Yeah, of course.
And I was sitting one day, I says, because we're on the border between Donegal and Tyrone.
Yes.
Lifford is over. Lifford's just, I look out the window now, I can see
Actually, that
Lifford.
that night was actually there was that night there was a fucking a road, not a roadblock, but there was roadworks, and I had to go. I'm like, fucking hell, where am I now? And I was in Lifford.
Yeah,
I had to go around the
yeah.
town. But
You're back
yes,
in Europe again. You know what I mean? So I had an idea. Says, could you picture an Orangeman standing at the border? Now, Straban's a Republican town,
yeah,
welcoming people coming over from the south. We welcome to the UK in a big,
brilliant.
and I just looked well. The moustache as well, Tom. So it is.
Yeah.
And I, and I got the sign, and I did it, and I did it on the day of. I didn't realize you don't know what's going to happen. You see, so I did it on the day that there was a big rallying championship in Donegal. Apparently, it's massive every year. So cars were tail to tail. Right, I was standing with a big thing, and people were beeping horns and going round and coming back and shouting out at me and the whole lot. And that was the first time I did it. I could probably walk up the. I was actually thinking of sabotaging St. Patrick's Day March and running out in front of St. Paddy himself.
Yes.
I could probably get away with it. Then I was thinking maybe I don't want to ruin it either. You know, I don't want to fucking.
Yeah.
The show's doing really well. So what happened was I started doing skits then and trying not to offend both sides. So I wanted to show how tolerant Straban was.
Yes.
So I would just run around and get stuck in the Catholics with all the Catholic innuendos and shit. And ended up that the Protestants and loyalists all loved the character as much as the Catholics.
Of course they did, because they saw the tongue in cheek, like.
Aye. And so our first show was in Straban, 2 nights, 2 stand ovations, unreal. Our second show then was in the Waterside, back to your friends that
Yeah.
the same place you went and did the show in Derry before you came to Straban. And it was in a loyalist area. Like even whenever we were getting changed in the change rooms, there was the UVF flags and all out the window and stuff. So our first gig outside of Straban was in a loyalist area.
Brilliant.
And fuck, I'll tell you, we had to work for a money that night because the first scene in Straban, the first line got a laugh. Like, and I was like, fuck, do you ever do any plays or any comedy plays or anything like that? No?
I did. It's what I'll tell. Yeah, I toured a one-man play. It's kind of a big American production, and we did all the North, and it's a Icelandic and Scottish production company. I know the combo, and they made the poster up, and the next thing they sent me over the poster just to see what I thought, because really they didn't give a fuck. They were just being polite because this was the poster anyway. And one of the girl in the office had written London Derry the date. I went, whoa, fucking, whoa. What the fuck are you doing? And she went, I don't, because she was so out of, she just looked on the map and just went, oh, that's where we're going next. Yes, London Derry. I went, for the love of fuck, can you just just back up and in fairness to the 2 lads that own the company, like they were going, Jesus Christ. But that night, what was funny was and it was quite a loyalist style of people, but I did another place just outside Belfast where would be very, very, they'd be quite posh, but they're very Protestant, and I can't remember. And
Bangor?
No, this would have been a theatre in the Belfast suburbs, like.
Right.
Posh, where the fuck was it? And I remember a group of old ones came up to me afterwards and said, that was very good. And one more or less told me, like, only you're an actor, like, and this is a play, and you're a makey-uppy person, we wouldn't cross the fucking road to see you.
Uh,
She more or less told me that, and I kind of went,
yeah,
right, I'm starting the engine and getting the fuck out of here. But it was a great
yeah,
show, but it was because I wasn't real. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
It was, even though it was a one-man play and it was me, but it wasn't real to, so, and they could accept
So,
that.
the two things I got into play is like you don't know what's funny because you rehearse it that much that you're fed up with the jokes yourself.
Yeah,
So in
yeah, yeah.
Straban, every joke landed in Straban. It was their hometown. The news. They came out to see the cast saw from the town. Do you know what I mean? So support from the word go. Then we went to the Loyalist area. So they're seeing a man dressed as an Orangeman. So they're doing this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Arms holding big ignorant heads in them. Yeah.
Oh, so I never got a laugh for the first three scenes because the first three scenes I'm in the IRA. I'm a Republican from a Republican town who is obsessed with everything orange, but I'm deluded. It's a stupid character. He's into foxes and Jaffa cakes and tigers and anything orange. Do you know? So the scene that they started coming around to is we have the irreverent. So we try and balance it, obviously. So the first half of the show, I'm the Republican character, the character before I make the transition. So we talk about a lot of stuff. The good thing about doing stuff set back in the 80s, you can play on stuff that happened. You know what I mean? So we did a whole what it's going to be like in the future and stuff like that. But so the character thinks the character's wife thinks he's having an affair because of the way he's going on. The IRA think he's a tout, so they're going to shoot him. Then there's other people think I'm gay. Right. And then so we cover all them things that were out of the question in Straban and Northern Ireland back in the early 80s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You weren't allowed, you couldn't be gay, you couldn't be and out of all those things, the last thing that this family thought was going to happen is that I wanted the transition into an Orangeman, and it's my right. So
very good. Yeah.
And then I do it, you know Paul Curry, the comedian. Yeah. So I pull out me and Paul Curry at the middle. I go out and go into the audience and just crowd work and shout and hand out carrots and Jaffa cakes and mandarin oranges. And then when we get back to the second scene, I'm just the Orangeman, the rest of it. But then we finish with a big, there's a what I call it, what's the word? There's a meaning to everything we do. A good message. You always have to finish. Of
course. Yeah.
Positive message. Why can't we all get a long speech? One of them ones.
Yeah.
So and it's working now. We've done 10 shows so far, and Cole Rain would be predominantly Protestant. They're at a 50 ticket sold to start the October. And we've got one now in Letterkenny in June. So we're getting round the borders and round. We went down to, where did we go? That they were nearly as miffed as the Loyalists. Fuck, where did we go? Down the just before, what do you call it? You know when you're halfway down the road to Dublin, it's before RD, Jesus, there's a fucking place. But
is
anyway,
it still in Northern Ireland, like Newry, no?
No, we're down in past Monaghan. Down past Monaghan.
You're loud.
Near RD. Yeah, I think it was in Louth. I forget the name of the town now. And so it's a famous town.
Dundalk, Drogheda?
Drogheda, I think it might have been.
Could be anyway,
they were.
I'll
they didn't understand the word.
If like I remember Drogheda, you possibly were in Dundalk, I'd say, because Drogheda they're kind of open minded. They have enough, and there's a lot of performance stuff goes on there. But I did a show in Dundalk, and to this day you remember in Father Ted when Bishop Brennan got kicked up the hole, and it took him it took him like weeks to realize that he'd been kicked in the hole. I walked away from that gig. And it was the play. It was that play, Defending the Caveman was the name of it. And I walked away going, what the fuck was that? And this is Dundalk, this hugely strange theatre. A strange layout. Like, it was just, everything was strange. It's a 2-hour play, and the 2 hours just kind of went, I think my brain was like, we'll just do away with that now, Tom.
There is, and I understand where the people say, no, I had to work tonight. Because there's times when you have to work it. Like we got the guys in the Unionist Loyalist here, we got them in the second half and they laughed the rest of it and we got a big cheer at the end. But I fucking took the wind out of my sails because Straban went so well. I thought
you've been spoiled rotten. Yeah, you've been spoiled.
Fucking rotten is the word. And that's the other thing about Straban audiences in general, man. Even we interviewed James Gallagher yesterday in our podcast, and he was just saying the support. But you can go into the good. That's why my stand-up's coming on quick. I'm not afraid to try new stuff in Straban.
Yeah.
Because if I read out of the fucking phone book they left, but it can be a false.
That's the thing. Yeah, you come away going, well, that's ready to rock. And next thing you take, yeah.
Have a new air.
Yeah.
You take it to the pub then in Belfast, and it's just like, you know what I mean?
I know you've a match, but come here. Did I see it on a clip one time? Did you get arrested? Properly arrested? Like?
I was in jail in America, yeah.
Okay, I can't let you go away without telling me. You just slipped that in. You went, yeah, I was in jail in America.
Man, one of my most embarrassing times.
A Northern Irish fella had to go to America to fucking spend time in
fucking. I know. I'm sure. My dad had 15 years.
Did he?
My whole life he was inside. Well, he got out when I was about 15. You know what I mean? So he was growing up. He was always in jail. He was a Secretary of State pleasure. It's like Secretary of State decides that you don't find out you're getting out until that day or so before you get out.
What?
So you go to these meetings, they tell you no, they knock you back for another 2 years, you're not going to get considered, and then sort of like Shawshank when Red was going in.
Okay,
yeah. So we didn't know I was getting out until I got out.
I'm out now. Holy shit!
Out, right? You're my dad, me with fucking pubes.
Fucking hell!
But so I was in America, and was just one of them. See, the Straban was lawless, as I say. The only time, and people love fighting in Straban. It was like one of them fucking towns that it was like hugging and fighting. And see, the police did not get involved.
Why would you?
If there was a fight in a Republican town, and the only way you'd stop it is when the police get involved and everybody turned on them.
Yeah.
So that was the mentality, and then I went, because I was getting in trouble a while out from 16 to 17, 18. I loved all that madness. They sent me to America over to my uncle, and when I was over there, I thought you could carry that behavior. Oh. How wrong was I? How wrong? Went over to a civilized place like over there where you can't be seen intoxicated in the street.
Yeah. Where were you? Where did you go? What Irish?
Philadelphia.
Of course, yeah.
Upper Derby. So you're leaving a place where outside drinking's the thing. The place is the So fucking get into I don't know what happened. We were just in a bar one night and I went with this woman and she was a big one. You know how big she was? She had a fat forehead. Now,
fucking hell! That's a unit. Holy shit! I've often pointed out what I describe as pints back. When you see a woman with a Mickey Bartlett back on her, you're like, that's a back generated purely by pints.
And this is what I was like.
She had a meaty forehead. Jeez, like a big fucking sirloin sitting under the. Yeah.
Like it took some fucking.
Jeez, with some sauce on board if you were tackling that thing.
Oh, it was bad. And I was out slow dancing somewhere, but her brother was a big doorman. So he thought I was out taking a hand. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But I was genuine, because I was an ugly bastard. I was covered in spots and a skinhead. So he put me out, and then I was shouting at them, and police just pulled in, arrested me, and my mate got arrested just for saying, "Hey, why are you arresting him?" Do you know, it was one of them. But they got confused, and they thought if we let these guys out and it doesn't go to court, they'll skip back to Ireland. And then immigration were saying if you let them out, they'll stay here. Do you know, all that kind of. So we were like 2-3 weeks in jail in America. I was in the state penitentiary, like.
Oh,
shit myself.
This wasn't in a holding spot. They actually put you out into a fucking with actual prisoners.
So there's a place called the Roundhouse in Philadelphia where they put you first for 48 hours, and it's a jail, like a proper. And I watched Shawshank. I watched fucking Oz. I thought I'm getting raped tonight, like. And you're on with all these black guys, and it's just. Do you know what saves you? Being Irish.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah, because they don't know what to make there.
Exactly, and then every one of them, I'm a Murphy, I'm Irish. No, they're all some way related. They thought we sound like Lucky Charms, and so the scariest moment of my life. I always say it, and that's probably why I did MMA when I came back and then went on to stand up and sort of had the balls to do scary things. Was we were driving. I was in an orange suit with the shackles on.
Ironically, your character
I
was
know,
already
I know.
formed. Yeah.
And then the big doors went back, and there was boys in the towers with the guns, and the dogs were barking, and all the guys that were in the blue suits that you move into after 4 days, they're all shouting out the cells at you and all, and fresh meat and
Oh,
all
for
that.
fuck's sake.
So the only way I could deal with it was deal with the present, right? Just deal with now. Because I was only 19.
Fuck.
19. You know what I mean? So it was just like me, and I'm like, this is. So you're just wondering, what time am I getting ripped? It's not. Is it going to happen? It's like, because you watched everything.
Yeah, I'm getting bummed.
Andy
Simple as that.
Dufresne. Me and Mickey chatted about that in the last podcast. It wasn't until you're a bit older that you realised Andy Dufresne was getting bummed for years.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
first time I seen it, I thought I fought these guys off and they didn't touch him. No, they're there when you read the small print, when you're a wee bit older watching it again. Andy Dufresne was getting bummed for years. So this is all in my head. And then what happened was that the charges were dropped. They kept us for 2-3 weeks. They only put us in an immigration jail, where that was the scariest, because we were in there and they filled the place, like they would wait until it's packed with Mexicans and then ship all the Mexicans at one time. And so we were in, and we were told we're going home in 3 days. And I told this to a Mexican. He's turned around and said some Spanish, whatever language they're speaking. And the whole lot of them busted out laughing. I said, what he's laughing at? He says, they said the same to him 3 years ago. So I'm like, the boy on me went into the cell for the next 2 days. He couldn't leave. He just thought, this is it. Because we went to this place that was in the middle of nowhere. The free put them underpants on. No, with Leroy written in the back of them. You fucking. And then because I had a British passport, they dumped me off in London. So then in London, because of my family, I got pulled in and questioned for like 5 hours. Man, you couldn't make it fucking up. And it was all over the head of me going out for a drink and slow dancing this girl with a big fat forehead.
That'll fucking learn you. Lads, if you learn if you learn nothing from that last 5 minutes of chat, mind them meaty foreheads. Mind them fucking foreheads.
Never know what rabbit hole you go down there, boy. Jesus Christ. It was terrifying. And
my whole puckered up there the second that you said real jail. I'd be all of a sudden I'd become fierce pretty, I'd say. I'd become very pretty. Like
all of a sudden you're the best looking in the room. This was a brand new jail too. It was like the state penitentiary of Pennsylvania. So they had stop cigarettes. Apparently the stuff in your food to keep you less erections and stuff like that. So I didn't shower for the first 4 days. I didn't go for food the first day. I just looked out of my wee cell window. Oh, fuck this. And I remember one of the scary times is I was doing weights. Now, all they were using was shafts of brush and water and bags and sheets just to get a bit of weight for curling and stuff. And all these men were massive. And I used to go into the one cell where they did it. And this one day I went in, they handed me the thing, and my back was the wall, and the big fella come in, just closed the door.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm looking, and there's like 5 bigger men than me, like. And this one of them cells that you have to get the screws notice. So you have to see you waving, then he'll unlock your cell, and then you get out. Nothing happened, but that, do you know what I mean? I was like, it was this moment that you fucked up. But that was it was tough. It was tough, but it was. Do you know what I mean? I was like, before I went to America and around that time, I remember the road I was going down. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
Actually, I was living in a homeless place in Derry, and this guy, we had to get a phone call to your room. You're wanted downstairs. It was secure, and this guy said, "There's a guy down here looking for you," and I landed down, and it was it was like a friend, and he had a few drinks in him. He says, "Money, come with us." This is a Monday, like at about 12. And I went, what he's doing. He says, we're going to go drinking. Maybe take a few E-tablets. No. And I was like, right then. And I got in the car and away with them all day. The 3 of them are dead now with either alcohol or drugs.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's big scares like that can either make you or break you, I think.
Do you know, in the long run, it did no harm at all. Like, you know what I mean? Just
no.
Now, an extreme version. You could have gone gardening in fucking fucking Germany or something. Like you didn't have to have your whole
Aye.
fucking shut for fucking 3 weeks over in fucking America. Going, I'm not even taking
And we
a joke.
and
I'm not.
and we didn't know we were getting out because we were told by the solicitor said that this whole court process will take 6 months. So you're definitely going to be in for that. So we're thinking 6 months straight away, and then if you're found guilty, maybe another 6 or time served or whatever. But you're definitely doing. But it went to court and they says, why have you got these guys in? They were drunk and disorderly, yes, but just send them back to Ireland. So that's the court case finished and we were getting sent back. But then we're sent to the immigration jail. No, and you think this is us out.
Yeah.
And then we were actually innocent, but we were still illegal. So then they sent us into the immigration jail.
But they made you. Oh, you right? Yes, I'm with you. Yeah.
I went over for a 2-week holiday and stayed 2 years.
Yeah.
With everybody, other Irish man over there.
Yeah. Holy shit. That's fucking
cash in hand.
Yes. So the podcast, before I let you go, the podcast is Big Massive Podcast.
The Big Massive Podcast, we're going now about, I think we're 120 episodes in, but we've got like 50 Patreons as well.
Brilliant.
Me and Niall Cook would be a good friend of mine, but he's also like into CrossFit and training and stuff like that. So I always think get a comedian when it's always comedians. It ends up like me and you. We just chatted comedy today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where some people might be fed up listening to that. Where I think if you get somebody with a different perspective, does different things, you get different. And then I'm a comedian, obviously. Well, not obviously, but I'm a comedian. But we would get on all types of guests, like yourself. Get anybody on that gets a good chat.
Yes.
Good yarn.
Yeah. Well, brilliant.
So Big Massive Podcast, and Orange is the New Green is to play.
Orange is the New Green is to play. The comedy club, the long-standing one is the Boiler Room in Strabanter, and the new ones.
That's called Pure Crack Comedy. It's in Macosh, Crack in Macosh. That's the big one, and that's the one that I think is going to take it to the next level because it holds 200. You know what I mean? And it's filling up. So we're going once a month. Last Friday of every month, but if you know the way things work, when think like Straban was meant to be once a month, then it ends up you do 3 a month, 4 a month because Gaddis wants to do a slot, and I can call Gaddis sells out in 20 minutes.
There you go.
On my Patreon. Boom. Do you know what I mean? So he can ring me and say, "Can I do next Tuesday?" Yeah. Do you know? So the things. So I want Derry. I would love it. Imagine Derry got every week. That would be the
amazing.
And I think it's a city. I think it's capable.
One of the first gigs I ever did outside of Dublin, it was in Derry. And I was actually living. I drove from Tip, drove up, and I was hosting it. And fuck me, it was huge. It was in a theater. It was in the Forum, and it wasn't. And it wasn't. It was. I don't think it was. But still, there was like 150 people on a fucking Saturday night, or it was a strange one, like a Sunday night or something. And these people were just happy to show up. It was like, well,
man, some of the audiences in Derry are unreal. You're even right, but there's still a wee bit of split in society. Like when we did that Orangeman show in the water side in Derry, nobody in the Catholic side would go to it. Because they were all saying you need to bring it to Derry, and we were saying we're in Derry. We didn't sell out, but we had a good number. And
you brought it to Londonderry. You needed to bring it to Derry. Yeah.
Yes. So we'll bring it back. Hopefully, it grows legs, and we can bring it to the Millennium. We'd love that.
That'd be class.
Definitely, we'll be in touch about gigs, man, and get you up.
Oh, but without a shadow of a doubt, it's I'm in the middle of a house build. That's the fucking I'm ghost. So even fucking doing this, like I'm going right now. I'm talking to an electrician for the next hour, basically. So
lovely.
Yeah,
well, whenever you're ready, boy, let us know, and we'll set because as I say, I think it's going to be. We're trying to get Tom Stade, and he may Tom Stade or Colin, not Colin Gales, Colin
Murphy.
Colin Murphy. They might be because we booked up the June. We all around the place. We're trying maybe from September on to do the 3-4 nights. Get the free. It's just going to make it so much easier.
Oh, it'd be class. That would be class. That'd be a perfect reason to hang about, because the amount of times I've just almost every time just go up and come down.
Yeah.
go up and come down. And
Because
that's
there's you give leverage too. Like you could nearly do Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday and Derry. Do you know there's
yeah,
like, and even Connor Keys, two Connors like made amends, so we could maybe link dailies under that as well.
that'd be
You know what I
unreal.
mean?
That'd be
Wouldn't it?
unbelievable. Holy shit!
Definitely. So
Right,
it'd be good to see you, man.
absolutely, brother. Right, thank you very much for coming on, man.
No bother. Anytime. And as I say, we'll get you up. Thank you for having me.
Not a bother.